Greetings and welcome to the Dr. Kareem Ainsley Show. My name is Kareem Ainsley, and this will be our show. If you have concern concerning relationship, or you just don't understand why is it that relationships are not working, then this is a place that you need to be. If you desire to have riches and wealth, and you want to do it in a way that is right and righteous, you are absolutely at the right place. We are here to help you, to give you guidance as to what is in your best interest so you can receive that which you were intended to receive. So, if that is what interests you or entices you, congratulations, you are in the right place. Each week we'll be having one session of relationship caption and one session of financial direction, and we'll be amalgamating them so that we can develop the whole person. In today's society, many persons are living lives which are bordering on the realm of only existing and not living to their full potential. In this environment, in this atmosphere, we are going to guide you so you can maximize your true potential, so you can achieve that which you were created to achieve. If that interests you, if that sparks your interest, I invite you to come on the inside with us. If you're new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share this information with your friends and family so they too can be edified and illuminated to the truth of life. Until we meet again on the inside, signing out is Dr. A. See you in a few. Greetings and welcome to Money Trip JA, where we use cents to make dollars. Thanks for joining us. On this channel, we'll be speaking about all things concerning money, finances, economy, business, online development, and also real-world application. Today, we'll be discussing the top 5 money mistakes. And in order to understand the top 5 money mistakes, we have to position ourselves in a state in which we can comprehend what money is and what it is all about. If that is something you're interested in, stick around and don't forget to press the subscribe button. If value will be added or value was added at the end of this video or during the course of the video, or you were given a new perspective, please turn that like button blue. And feel free to share this information with your friends and family alike. Now for the moment that you have been waiting for, number 1. The first money mistake is to believe that this concept is actually real, when actually it is by design and illusion created to keep one in a cycle of movement. What is it that we're saying? What we actually use in different regions, different countries, is not actually money, it is a currency. We'll go into more details about the whole nature of what it is that we're using. So money has not been used for a very long time as a means of exchange. So fiat currency is by decree. That is, the government prints some paper and says you have to use this, and if you don't use it, then sanctions can be taken against you. So that is what the money is all about. It is by decree. So if tomorrow there is a war, the money can collapse, and that is something we need to understand. So the money, or the alleged money that we're using, is actually currency. And how do we know this? Because in order for something to be considered to be money, it first has to be a medium of exchange. Number 1, it has to be a unit of account. Number 2, it's supposed to be fungible, all right? And that means that it's interchangeable. It's supposed to be portable. It can move from one location to another. It is supposed to be durable. It can last an extended period. It's supposed to be divisible. And most of all, it should store value. And the fiat currency does not store value because it's not edged to anything that is actually substantial. Now, moving to item number 2, chasing money. Money is so elusive that many people fall in the trap of chasing after it. And this is a big no-no, because if you chase money, money is going to run away from you. So don't chase money. When you have the principles down, the money will follow you. The money will actually find you. And when we're speaking of money, we're still speaking of currency, because that is what is applicable in today's dispensation. It is like a relationship. If you keep having to chase your partner, it means that that partner is not for you. So don't chase money, because money should actually come to you. And if it's you have to be chasing it, it means that probably you are doing something wrong. And we will correct that here on Money Trip JA. Number 3, money gives happiness and power. The truth be told that money opens door, currency opens door likewise. You can still be destroyed even if you have currency. And the truth be told, some places depend on where the money is coming from or who the money is coming from, will not accept money from certain people. And you have to understand the discriminatory nature of the world. So not everybody's money has equal value. It all depends on the norms and customs in a particular geography. But money opens doors, but your character is what is of greater value. You may have the will to buy things, but the power that exists in having a flawless character is greater than any monetary value that you could ever have. Number 4. The fourth thing is believing that money is clean. The truth be told, all money is dirty money. Yes, you heard that right. Even the money that goes to the church, that there also is dirty money. The whole concept of money and the institution of a monetary system was done in order in the initial stages to exchange goods and services. And if we can remember clearly, those goods and services were human. Those were slaves before this dispensation. So the history of money comes with its blood all fixed upon it. So there is no money that is clean money. There is no currency that is clean currency, especially when it is rooted in a history of slavery. Number 5, the final thing that we'll discuss is the concept of you being worthless because you do not have the capital to start that which you need to start. I want you to understand that money does not exist in reality. It is created by the leading party, and that party has instituted rules and regulation to govern that which they have created. But it is only a fragment of our imagination and the belief that we have to consider it being applicable in our dispensation. But the actuality is, you are more than the money, because you cannot eat the money, you cannot bathe with the money, you can bathe in money, but you cannot bathe with the money. So you need the capital to get the resources. So the resources are more important than the capital, but the capital is needed for mediums of exchange unless we go back to the original barter system. Outside of that, you still as an individual have worth with or without currency, with or without money. Remember, naked you came into this world, naked you leave out of this world. So the time that you spend in this world should be more valuable than the amount of capital that you hoard onto yourself. You have to remember that you are real. The money isn't, it was created. So who has more, or what has more importance, you or the money? You have more importance because you are a one of a kind. Even the banks realize this. And when you go to get a loan, what they do is assess your future value and give you benefits based on that future projection. So if today you're making $10,000 per year, the bank would be willing to give you in excess of maybe $50,000, even though you're only making $10,000, because they see the future potential that you possess. So that there is a concept of money, and it's just zeros and ones on a screen, as we'll begin to realize. And the final thing, we couldn't leave without giving you a bonus. You need a degree to make money, and this is very important. You do not need a degree, you do not need qualifications in order to make money. What I would say based on my experience is that the degrees and the qualifications that you have actually puts you in a box. You need to remember that the A students work at the big companies serving the B students, and the C students are the ones who actually own the buildings in which the B students work, and the D students are the ones who actually own the building and other infrastructure surrounding its maintenance, and they're the ones who make the most money. So having a degree is not a qualifier as to how much income you'll make. If we do the statistics, we'll realize that most of the highest set of earners are persons actually without degrees. And let us look at it. Before now, majority of the businesses we started, no one even had a degree. This qualifier should not be a deterrent for us making money together. In fact, it is easier to teach and help individuals who have no qualification how to make money, because they are more willing to step out of their comfort zone. But when people are shrouded with the degrees and the accolade, they are boxed in and believe that only what their degree is about is the job or is the requirement that they can fulfill to uplift and enable the society. But I want to tell you that there is far from the truth. Thanks for stopping by, but this is where we're going to have to end this session in the top 5 money mistakes. Don't make these money mistakes. In order for us to move forward, your mindset has to be changed. Now, let us get into the fun as we use our senses to make dollars. This is Dr. A. Thanks. Greetings and welcome to Money Trip JA. Did you know that the money or the currency that you're currently using is not real? If that's something that you're interested in knowing about, then stick around. If you're new here, kindly hit the subscribe button, and please don't forget to share the content and turn the like button blue, providing that any value was added to you or you were given a new perspective on these matters. When we spoke about money in our last sitting, we discussed that there are 5 main lies or fallacies, mistakes that many people make according to their philosophy, according to what the government imposed upon them. But what we're here to tell you is that those philosophies will not get you to where you desire to be, because the first thing that we covered was money is not real. And you may be saying to yourself, I've been using this all my life. How could this not be real? Well, if we go back into history, we will realize that the original transfer of wealth and equity was in livestock, and that there was the currency in those days. Then over time, men became a little bit more smarter, and their population grew, so they tried to find a common ground. And then the next thing that they chose was to use gold. and other metals. Over time, we realize that when evil men are involved in the monetary supply and system, they have a tendency to become impulsive, in that they began a process called debasement. So in this debasement process, what happened is that if you had each coin worth in 1 ounce of gold, they will clip a few ounces of, or a few portions of, which reduces the confidence and the value of that said coin. And they'll not only flip or clip some of it off, they will also add other metals in it, which reduces its purity. So that there begins the idea of debasement, which will take us back into the fiat currency. Then people said, hey, the goldsmiths were becoming a little bit wiser, as they were storing the golds and giving receipts. So in them storing the golds and giving receipts, they thought to themselves, hey, we can give more receipts than we have gold. And that there again was another situation in which there was debasement, because there were more receipts out for gold that was not in the vaults, and that there created another challenge and another complication. I want you to know, before we get any further, that you are the wealth. Everything that you ever needed, all the money that you'll ever need, all the currency you'll ever desire, you already possess it, and only time will allow you to extract it. It is not about making money. It is actually about adding value to people's life. And once you add value to someone's life, then inevitably, guess what's going to happen? You are going to be rewarded for the value that you have contributed. So as we move down the timeline, we realize that the governmental system could not be trusted. And then when wars are being fought, people have a tendency to overextend themselves. But before we get into the First World War, what we need to understand is that in China, back in the early period, in the 18th century, there was a decree in which the Chinese currency was slated to be the order of the day. The trick with this currency is that it was not tied to anything whatsoever. So the people were forced actually to use the currency, or else they will experience debt. And most persons chose, by being complicit, to use the currency. And this continued for quite some time before World War. But what we need to understand is that as time progresses, men's mind would become a little bit more sophisticated and ingenious in the utilization of the resources that they had. So what they decided to do was to create a system in which they uncoupled the currency from what was backing it, that was gold at the time. So the different superpowers were engaging in different wars. But America at the time was not involved in the war directly until the latter 6 months of the war. So every country was getting military grade supplies, arsenal from the Americas and other countries, and they were being paid in gold. So what happened is that America had majority of the gold. If you are smart, you understand why they became the superpower, and I know that you are. However, I want you to indicate in the chat, in the comments, and let me know which other entity has the second most, if not equal to, the American amount of gold. And you may be surprised, but let me hear what you have. The answer will be at the end of this session. Yes, so now back into the history lesson. So during the last 6 months of the war, the American entered the war and just put some final touches, which mean that they did not spend a lot of resources per se, but they captured majority of the resources. And the Americans at this time was giving out backed notes, fiat currency that were actually backed by gold. However, over time, they had more fiat currency in circulation than they had gold in the vault. And then over time, the president, Nixon, would decouple or unlink the redeemability of the currency to gold. And there was even a time in history when those American citizens who had gold had to turn them in or force imprisonment. So money has been coming a far way. And the reason for decoupling the currency from gold was so that they could inflate the value and print more. And in printing more, there is less value intrinsically with that currency. So with the mentioned value of this currency, we have what we see as inflation. And in some countries, we have runaway inflation. We have had a situation in which Zimbabwe experienced this in a previous time. And this brings us to what we have today as fiat currency. As it is by decree, the government institution indicates that this is what is legal tender, even though it is unbacked. So now that we have that out of the way. So the money that may be used in the Caribbean and other jurisdictions, because they were not linked to anything, then they are also fiat currency. And history would prove to us that these currencies that are unlinked eventually end up at zero. There have been thousands of fiat currencies, and at the end of the day, they all end in zero. Advent of the new era, even the great dollar will go to a value of zero based on the debt to GDP ratio over time. And then that will mark the introduction of the crypto. And that is why many banks and many financial institutions are now moving in towards digitalizing the currency, putting it on ledgers, zeros and one, saying that they're giving you quick and easy access. But this here is a step in a good direction, but also a step in a bad direction. Before we go, I want us to have a basic comprehension as the principle of money. In order for something to be money, it needs to be a medium of exchange. It means that someone has to be using it and to buy and sell, trade items for goods and services. So that's the first criteria. The second criteria, it needs to be a unit of account, which means that it is going to be able to be placed on a ledger, so we can have bookkeeping, record keeping, so we can verify and validate. It needs to be fungible. It needs to be interchangeable. It means that $1 here is $1 there. $1 in X hand is $1 in Y's hand. So it needs to have that and have it over a period of time. This money needs also, or currency needs to be portable. We're discussing money, so it needs to be portable, which means you can move it from one place to another. Gold was not really as portable because of the weight, but it has a portability to it because the gold could be divided and reconstructed into smaller bars. Then it needs to be durable, which means that you have to put out effort in order to destroy it. And we know that gold has to be heated at high temperature. And one thing that we need to understand, it needs to be divisible, so you can break them down into different parts and move right along. Throughout history, most currency fulfilled these 6 requirements. However, the drawback with the currency and money is that money maintains a store of value, which means that we cannot just haphazardly increase them or decrease them. So that there is a separator between money and currency. So now you know the difference. And for the question that we ask, which country or which entity has the second most, if not the most amount of gold in its reserve? And if you didn't guess it or you didn't research it, the answer is the Vatican. I hope that this session would have given you insight as to money, knowing that it is not real, but it is only by decree in the current form that we're utilizing it. In other subsequent episodes, we'll get a little deeper in understanding the rudimentary of currency. Thanks for spending some time with us here on Money Trip JA, where we use sense to make dollars. Until next time, when we will continue the fun. Signing out is Dr. A. Greetings and welcome to Money Trip JA, where we use sense to make dollars. Thanks for stopping by today. If you believe that it is important to chase after money, then it means that you need some awakening to understand why you should not chase money. And in actuality, the best course of action when it comes on to money is to allow it to chase you. If that is something that you're interested in hearing about, please stick around. And if you're new here, kindly hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to share this information with your friends and family. And most of all, if any value was added, please turn the like button blue. So now, the moment that you have been anticipating, why should you never chase money? First thing to understand is that money is not real. It is an illusion created to have well-thinking people give up their capacity to think for themselves, to realize that it is just an illusion. Money is not real. Hence, there is no need to chase something that does not exist. Thought was brought into reality, and that there is money. So if you don't chase it, and you understand that it is not real, then you can allow it to chase you. And that is what we're going to be getting into in a few moments. If you chase it, you will become its slave when you should be its master, because you have to remember that money or currency is a tool to be utilized by a master. And if it is mastering you, it means that you'll do anything to get it, even things which go against your moral or ethical principles. And you have to understand that this is energy. So if you have an energy of affinity, it means that you are abiding by the principles of money. And everything in the universe operates on these said principles. Each area has its own principle to guide in ensuring that everything remains in equilibrium. Persons who chase money tend to become consumed by it, and this consumption, it becomes an obsession. And when this obsession takes root in the heart of man, they become evil. It's not the money that is evil, because the money is an illusion. It is a thought that was made manifest in reality. So this obsession, the love of money, which is not living, creates evil. The love of money, as some religious leaders and organizations present, is the root of all evil. It's not money. It means that it is okay to have money and have a lot of it, because that is what we are here for. I want you to be overwhelmed with financial freedom and financial liberation. But I don't want you to love money. I want money to love you. And you may understand the concept that you should not love money, because if you love money, money becomes your idol, and you don't want to be worshiping money. Better, the money decides to honor and respect you. I must remind you that having money will not necessarily make you happy. However, it is better to have money or resources and capital during the course of your existence. So though it will not make you happy, it will make your life much better. Another important reason why you should not chase after money is that the banknotes, they have no real intrinsic value. They are just promissory notes. It means they are just IOU. So you may see on some currency that in God we trust, but on those currency that says in God we trust, is it truly God that they're trusting, or are you really trusting the Federal Reserve, if it's on the US currency, to honor their obligation? Because we are currently in the modern era living in a debt-based society. So the more debt that exists, the stronger the economy will appear, and the greater the rate of inflation, which means that the money value is depreciating. And that is something that you have to be mindful about, not to fall in the money trap. Importantly, I don't want you to allow yourself to fall in the conundrum, to fall in the pit, to become so consumed and obsessed with money that you allow it to be your God. That is a no-no. What I want for you to do is not to chase after money, but allow money to chase after you. What you are going to do to allow money to chase after you is to move in line with your purpose. Become the person that you were created to be. I need you to operate from a state of a higher level of consciousness. And in so doing, then trivial matters will be inconsequential. In having the money chasing you, you must be willing to add value to others. The more value you add to other people's life, the more they are willing to compensate you for that value added. If you look in the farming industry, the sugar costs the least amount. But when the value added products are created, those tend to be more expensive. When the wines are created, that is more expensive. When the sweeteners are created, that is more expensive than the original crop. So the value added proposition increases your ability to benefit. I know that this may be hard for many persons who have been cultured by the normative practice of the world to do. But when you are moving in line with that which is right and righteous and divine, you have to operate with a level of integrity, with a level of dignity, in order for the money that you have acquired to be able to serve its useful purpose. And eventually, at the end of it all, money will chase you, chasing after you. Think about it. If you're in a relationship and you have to be chasing after that man or that woman, it means that they don't value you. It means that you are incompatible. It means that you are unequally yoked. That should not be the case with you and money. If the parties are incompatible, it means that relationship is not meant for you. But with money, the system, the principles, the laws can be taught, so you can bask in the wealth that is made possible. I will let you know that having money chasing you is the easy part. The part that becomes a little bit more technical is the preservation and maintenance of it. That there is a little bit more complicated. Later, we will discuss that we should not confuse money with wealth, money or currency, whichever you decide to use. We should not confuse that with wealth. If you stick with our guidance, we will aid you in becoming wealthy. So let us do a quick recap. Why is it not right to chase money? First, money is an illusion. Second, if you chase money, you'll become a slave to it, willing to do anything for it. Then you'll fall in the trap number 3 of becoming so consumed and obsessed that you love it, which causes you to become evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. It will not make you happy. We understand that. But another reason why you should never chase it is because it is only a promissory note, a IOU. Chasing money indicates that you're chasing the trust of man and not the trust of the originator. You do not want to chase it because you are its master and you do not desire for it to be your God. Money is an instrument to be utilized for the greater good of humanity. Thanks for stopping by and sharing in this experience with us. The reason why we should not chase money. Here on Money Trip JA, we use a sense to make dollars. Signing out is Dr. A. Welcome to Money Trip JA, where we use sense to make dollars. What would you do if you had $1 million in your bank account right now? Would you be doing the same thing that you are currently doing? If no, it means that maybe you should not be doing that which you are doing right this very moment. Today we're going to be discussing money has the potential to give happiness and power, but is that really the case? Now, for the moment that you have been waiting for, before we get there, I want those who are new, please hit the subscribe button. And for those who don't know the drill, yes, turn that like button blue. And don't forget to share this with all your family, your friends, and your relative who this information is deemed to add value to their lives. Now, why is it that money actually cannot buy happiness? Money cannot buy happiness for the number one reason: it is not real. It is an illusion that is created to keep humanity working and moving from step to step. All right, so we understand what is happening. So it's just to keep the human on a treadmill. Happiness, we need to understand in its basic breakdown, is an emotion that is felt under specific circumstances. Yes, having financial means to do the necessities will give you some sense of happiness to a degree, but the happiness is minuscule or inconsequential after you have all your basic needs satisfied and fulfilled. If you're in the desert and you are thirsty, giving you money would not make you hydrated. You would actually need water. You may take a bottle of water, 2 bottles of water, and you may spend whatever money is needed just because you are thirsty. After you have come out of that situation and you now have money, means enough, you have a home that has water running through the pipes, which means that you are in a state where you are satisfied, you are contented. So even if you're thirsty, you may not go for the water at that very moment. And you are not in a position where you're going to spend exorbitant amount of money to get that water that is already there. So money does not actually brings happiness, and happiness is an emotion. The third thing that we want to consider is this. Research shows that at a particular degree, maybe $75,000 per year, the average individual happiness is of a diminishing return. So they don't get happier after having $75,000 in the US economy. So that there is a diminishing return of money and happiness. We need to also take into consideration that the more you have, the more you tend to desire, the more you want, not because you don't have enough, but it's just the human nature to want more, creating an insatiable appetite that needs to be fulfilled. You do not want to spend your entire existence being consumed by materialism. So you need to understand that happiness is not derived from the outside. It is actually derived from that which is within. So you have to be happy within yourself as a person in order to move forward with your life and your reality. It is not external, so money will not give you happiness, people will not give you happiness, going to different places will not give you the happiness that you desire. But I have something that is even greater than happiness. Having the peace, having joy, that there is better than happiness. I want you to know that it is unprofitable for you to be wasting your life doing things you don't like so you can continue living doing things that don't make you happy, don't make you comfortable, don't stimulate your mind. So you have to take that out of your mind. Money will never make you happy. To believe such a thing, to live by those philosophies, are actually seeds of madness. Forget money and just be happy. Then let us make some money together. Nowadays, always say that power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. That is far from truth. What you need to understand is that power magnifies those things which were concealed because of their miniaturization, and money gives the capacity for disturbing and questionable character and behavior to be observed because it is magnified. It doesn't mean that it was not there before, it just means that now you are visualizing it. The greatest form of power is actually submission. It means that you're going to be in a state in which you are willing to be led through principle, through tested laws and values. So you are going to be under authority, and being under authority is where true freedom is derived. So in concluding, money does not provide happiness, nor does it gives you power. Yes, it may gives you an ability to experience life unlike many other individuals, but that truly does not give you happiness. And yes, it may allow you to buy and capture those things you desire, but that is not a true power. That there may be more fear than power. The takeaway is, enjoy life in the moment that it is currently being undertaken. Live life to the fullest, knowing that there is a greater reward than just amassing wealth. However, even so, we will still be amassing as much wealth as is possible and reasonable within moral ethics and guidance. Thanks for stopping by on Money Trip JA, where we use cents to make dollars. This is Dr. A signing out. Have you ever heard the saying, put your money where your mouth is? Well, I will hasten to say to you, I would not do such a thing. In your best interest and mine, there is no such thing as clean money. And today we will be discussing just that. Why is it that all money is dirty money? If that is something that you're interested in exploring, then stick around. Welcome to Money Trip JA, where we use cents to make dollars. For those who are new here, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to share with your friends and families. And also remember, if any value was added or you receive a new perspective, then go ahead and turn the like button blue. Now for the moment. Today we're not going to speak about the microorganisms that lives or dwells on the money that we use in our exchange. We're not going to talk about E. coli, Shigella, Enterobacteriaceae. We're not going to be discussing all of that. What we will be discussing are different aspects of dirty money. And we have quite an extensive list, but it is not exhaustive. Number one, the first thing that we're going to be talking about is slave money. And yes, you heard right. Money was used as a medium of exchange to acquire human beings who had value in exchange for money which had no value. Because of the mental conditioning of humanity in that era. This was a psychological trick. The practice can be seen as far back as in Egypt. In the early time, from time's inception, man's heart became corrupt, and then they started to fight and to war with each other. This was a similar exchange which took place in the family of Israel, causing them to be in bondage to Pharaoh. And yes, they had their deliverer from captivity who was in the form of Moses to bring them freedom. And we understand that money was an intricate part in them being enslaved. The exchange of currency for slave made it a way into modern era. And yes, we have the Spanish invasion, the French invasion, not to mention the British invasion. We also had the American invasion. That's just a tip of the iceberg, to name a few. Taking people from Africa, leading them into a foreign land. The Americas would also allow us to have an open understanding of the concept of slave money, in that people were considered property, and property could not own property. And in some cases, some were even considered 3/4 human. The Queen of England would also have been complicit and instrumental in destroying many countries, stealing their resources. The countries such as Jamaica, Barbados, and most other English-speaking countries. The language of a country gives an indication of the last slave money oppressor. And no, we have not forgotten China, Rome, or even the Vatican. Then we're going to move hastily along to number two. The next money that we'll be discussing is blood money, which is dirty money. And yes, many people died because they were forced to work in inhumane conditions for the benefit of the oppressor. We have history leading us back to the atrocities that were done in Africa, where we had the diamond mining, the gold mining, not to mention other countries who suffered, especially in the period of apartheid. And this is not exclusive to Africa. Other jurisdictions had their own form of blood money, the gang money, the government-sanctioned blood money. So let us bear that in mind. Not to mention those in Jamaica who were forced to sacrifice themselves to build the flat bridge. Let's not forget how the oppressors also used the money to intentionally collapse Haiti's economy. Depending on where you are, you can identify blood money. Many even in the political arena of the brutality and the murders, and even our young wars. Then number three, drugs money. And yes, we're going to be speaking about drugs money, but this is no regular drugs money. We are not talking about illegal drugs. Did you know that legal drugs kill more people than those considered illegal? If that is not a red flag, I don't know what is. The companies say it's the cost of doing business. Yes, when we speak about drugs money, we are not speaking about recreational use paraphernalias. We are making reference to the pharmaceutical companies who profit from the consumption, which leads to your demise. Remember the opioid epidemic, which was systematically created by the Sacklers family, amongst others, who have contributed to many individuals' demise for profit. You get the picture. Now let us move into money that is dirty, that you know it's dirty even before you see the money, and it is the polytricks money. Yes, that money. This money is a type which is moved from one hand into another, and the project never gets done, never gets completed, and if completed is overrun. These are our short-term thinkers who apparently are elected to put their self-interest first. Almost every country has this type of money where officials are bribed, take the bribe, live above their means, while the people they were elected to serve suffer. Now, let us move into number 5, corruption money. This is the money that is used for things which does not benefit equality or transparency. People buying diplomatic status. We experience this a lot. People are framed by government and non-government entities for things they never even have a clue of or even did. However, no one is willing to take responsibilities for the damages done to these individuals. So that there is a part of the politics and the corruption money intermingling. Then we have a charitricks money. People using charity to get their personal life sorted out. But in most instances, the money that is collected don't reach the people or impact the population as intended. Then we have the scam of the dirty bank money. This money that is created from debt, and it does not even exist anyways until a loan is taken out. Number 7 was the bank money. Number 6 was the charitricks money. And number 8 is the war money. So now, war money. War money. We should be familiar with war money. This is the money that is wasted on war just for the sake of power, costing the lives of many unsuspecting youths, while the strategists are locked in rooms of safety. People fighting and don't even know why they are fighting. They are just doing it because they were told to do so. And yes, I know those who are religious and tied to denominational entities will understand this one, the church money. Yes, the church money is also dirty money, not because it comes from all the other sources of dirty money, but because the church has lost its purpose. Then we have this church money, which is the money which is given to the church and in some areas allocated for different purpose than intended. Pastors live in extravagant lifestyles, while the congregation live in poverty and misery. The money comes from the dirty money and makes its way into the coffers with an alleged intention of good. This is the same money that was used to fund slavery, the same money that was looted during the times of war. And yes, we have gun money. Gun money. You may know that. Gun money, this is the money used to buy arms, to destroy humanity in the name of self-defense. And one type of dirty money that many people neglect is the employment money. This is the money, this is the amount they are willing to pay you so you can give up on your dreams. And how many have bought the bait, paid the price, and died without even living? There are a lot of other dirty money that we could speak on. We could spend more time in greater excavation. If you know any other, please don't hesitate. Leave them in the comments below. In the future, we will show you how to clean those dirty money. Thanks for spending some time with us here on Money Trip JA, where we use sense to make dollars. Signing out is Dr. A. Have yourself a money-filled day. Does not add value to you. Have you ever heard people saying, I am nothing because I don't have X, Y, Z money? If you know of anyone who is in this state, or even if you have conceived such a thought, then you will be most delighted to know we'll be covering just that. Does money add value to you? Welcome to Money Trip JA, where we use sense to make dollars. For those who are new here, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. Don't forget to share this with your friends and family. And if any value was added or you received a new perspective, go ahead and turn that like button blue. Now, for the moment that you have been waiting for, money does not determine your worth. Your worth does not change with increase in money, increase in finances. We have been cultured to believe that your net worth is equivocal to your worth. But let's look at it logically. If money does not exist, and it is only an idea that is expressed, it means that your multiplication of an illusion will always remain an illusion. It is similar to multiplying 0 by any number. You will continually get 0. Something that does not exist cannot be multiplied. Because money did not make you, you are still something without money. The only real money is actually you, because all the wealth resources that you ever need are already within you. All you need to do is get it out of you. That is exactly what we will seek to help you to do here on Money Trip JA. With that out of the way, you are almost ready to have money chasing you. The money inside you is like energy, and that energy will be manifested in the physical when called upon by following simple principles and guidance. Money serves its purpose, but you must be sure to keep it in its place. Don't let money put you in your place. Put money in its place. How much is your life worth? Let's think about it. If you can answer that question with numerical value, then something is wrong. The question is basically asking, how much are you willing to get to give up your life? There is nothing that you should be willing to give up for your life. There is no real value in the proposition. It is actually a trick, because your life is worth more than money. You are worth more than money. Money only has value based on what people attribute to it. Without life, there is no need for money. because money truly does not exist. When you take your life in your hands, you will be in a position to make money move and have money following you. There are three basic levels to existing. Number one, surviving. Then there is a striving, and then there is thriving. In survival mode, you try to make ends meet because your resources are thin. Then we move into the striving. You are living paycheck to paycheck, but you are not yet really living the life you were designed to live. Then there is a thriving. Thriving occurs when money follows you, money chases after you. So in surviving, you are chasing money, but in thriving, money is chasing you. Your mentality and the frequency you operate can elevate you to a degree in which you can enjoy life, or it can delimitate you and put you in a restriction, like a stiff jacket, in which you can't exist and experience the quality of life that God intended for you. So the big question, the big takeaway for you is, does money truly add value to you? By now you should realize that money in and of itself cannot add value to you, because money does not exist. Money is an illusion just to keep you productive, to keep you working, to keep you moving forward. However, many persons considered to be of less value because they have no capital, and that is mental conditioning done by the society. But the truth be told, that is a fallacy, that is a lie, that is a deception, one in which you should not allow yourself to fall prey to. So now, in conclusion, we have to come to the realization that money doesn't add value to you. You are more important than money. Without money, you are someone. With money, you are still the same person. Money, in some regards, helps to magnify the character of the person that you are. At the end of the day, it is up to you to decide, will you allow money to control you, or will you control money? This is a choice that you will have to make, as I cannot make it on your behalf. But at the end of the day, I hope that you'll allow prudence and the wisdom of God to guide you in making the right decision. Remember, here on Money Trip JA, we use cents to make dollars. This is Dr. A. Have yourself a money-filled day. Did you hear it? There are many people going around saying you need a degree to make money. I hope that you are not one of them who have been consumed by this narrative or who have even been convinced by it. What I would say to you is get a good education. That is what they say. Get as many degrees as you can, and you will be positioned to make a lot of money, a lot of capital, dinero, pesos. But is that really the case? If that is something you're interested in hearing, stick around. Welcome to Money Trip JA, where we use cents to make dollars. For those who are new here, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to share with your friends and families. Also, remember, if any value was added to you or you received a new perspective, please turn the like button below. Now, the answer to the question, does a degree make money? In simple terms, we could surmise or conclude with a yes and no. Being without a degree is not an impediment to making money. And even it is really and truly not an impediment to even becoming rich. The idea of a degree is to give you a specific set of skills to which you can become employable. This indicates that with just the degree, you can be employed by someone else who requires the specific skills that you possess. This employability causes you now to become a fixed expense to the company or the organization to which you serve. This will give you security. However, majority of the tasks that you will be performing, you will soon realize that your degree independently is unable to perform them. A degree can be considered an investment providing that there is a strategic plan to recoup a substantial return that generates a positive ROI. Most persons with a degree or degrees are paid only enough to forget their dreams. They become complicit in the idea of safety with only marginal returns. The degree may give an individual an advantage, however, this is not a guarantee. Let us also face the music. Not all degrees are created equally. Some are so worthless they should have never been created, as there is negligible real-world worth or even need for them to be applied. If you are without a degree, I would advise you to stay away from fine arts unless you have a plan, humanities, liberal arts, and other areas where there is limited employability. If you are on the quest, you should more so seek after STEM programs, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, computing, and the works, because we're moving in a digital era. When you go into a school, the system is designed as a business. It means that the individuals there who are purporting to have your best interests at heart to educate you is conducting educational transaction. It is a business arrangement, which means you will need to have an initial investment to make, which you need to pay off at a later date. So many people end up taking loan. A degree actually costs you before you benefit from it. Think about it. You have to pay tuition, you have to pay boarding, you have to pay for food, you have to pay for clothing, you have to pay commuting, stationery, miscellaneous, and most importantly, there is the opportunity cost that is missed. That is the time you could be doing something that you are truly passionate about, working on your vocation. Some programs are worth the investment because of the value added. However, the average person does not need a degree to build a business or to start something to benefit humanity. Instead of investing in schooling and a degree, you should use the capital to invest in your passion project that is one which has a potential for a positive ROI, while you grow in the process, providing employment for others and opportunities for those who have degrees and a big debt to pay off. Majority of the businesses that are controlled and operated, which creates majority or most employment, were never created by persons with degrees. They were created by persons with a specific vocation who utilize their skill set for the greater good of humanity. In cases where they have a degree, the benefit of the degree was negligible. It is real-life application and the impact and the contribution that is made to society that the individuals are compensated for. Most people who start with a degree begin their career with a negative balance. They have lost 4 years of their life. The time invested in being educated to work for someone else could have been invested in you and your dreams. If you are naturally gifted, you already know that the school system is not for you. However, if you are average and yearn to be a little better than average, then get a degree. Just make sure it makes sense to make dollars. At the end of the day, a degree is not a predictor of making money. It all comes down to the individual, and we have to realize that. Over time, we realize that persons with degrees are normally conditioned mentally to believe the only contribution that they can make to society is based on where their education or their schooling lies, which is clouded judgment and misrepresentation of them. So they allow their degree to control them. When your degree is controlling you and you have been placed in a box of limited option, that there which reduces the ability to maximize your ROI, your degree in essence becomes useless. At the end of the day, it depends on the individual and how deep they are in the matrix. I have seen with my 2 eyes persons with PhDs mopping floors of individuals with no degree because they are overqualified with useless degrees. So, what is this saying to us? The degree is no guarantee to making money. Money follows those who add value to society. And if you want to add value, sometimes a vocation is more appropriate than a degree. Something that is useful, something that can be used outside of the scope of theory, something that is practical. I am by no means saying that stay away from degrees, but what I'm saying is that you have to have your mind set in such a way that you understand the requirements, you understand the value proposition of acquiring a degree, you understand the deficit that you may have to incur prior to getting it, prior to having a return on that investment, which may in some instances take years before you can recoup that sum. At the end of the day, what I will share with you is this. If you find comfort in having a degree and being free of the matrix, then go for it. However, it's no guarantee to make you rich or to have money chasing you. What most degree does is to cap your earning potential. If you have a vocation, use it, maximize it. But at the end of the day, the degree is just a paper. It all comes down to the individual. And that's where we're going to conclude this session on Money Trip JA, where we use cents to make dollars. Signing out is Dr. A. Have yourself a money-filled day. Welcome again, and we just want to express congratulations to you on completing our 7-part philosophical series on money and its concept. Now that we have completed and understood the basic concept that we should not be chasing money, we are more valuable than money. Our degrees or qualification does not give us right or access to money, nor is it an impediment to having money. And once we have understood all the ground framework that money cannot buy us happiness, but having money gives us a better existence in this reality. It is time for us to move into the phase that I know that most of you are interested in hearing about. And now is a time when we will move forward into approaching this money game so we all can make money together. My name is Kareem Ainsley, Dr. A, and I will be guiding you on the process. I want to give a disclaimer. This is by no means financial advice. It should not be misconstrued for such. However, I will be giving you financial information so that you can do with it that which you see is in your best interest. Having the information is important, but what you do with it will determine the trajectory of your future. Here in this space, we'll be giving you opportunities to execute on the knowledge that you have. We'll be guiding you along the steps, and everything here is absolutely free. All you have to do is apply the information that you have received. Sometimes we major in the minor while minoring in the major. And in such a design, our life goes on a merry-go-round. We are rotating, going around, we are on a circle, and we are never getting off that circle. It's like the hamster wheel of life. We're chasing the wrong thing. We're working harder, but getting less results than that which is ideal. So our focus will be on efficiency. Whether you are 10 years old, 20, 30, or even 60, we are going to aid you in realigning with your mental state so that you can become financially free, financially liberated, so that you can enjoy the life that you were meant to embrace. It is our esteemed pleasure that you have elected to join us on this journey. I can assure you that your life will be changed, your life will be transformed as we do that which is right and righteous, living within our purpose. From here henceforth, the process will be expedited. We will not be laboring too much on the theory. We'll be getting ourselves into a state where we can act upon the information. And I implore you, don't just consume the information, but act upon it, because your life can change within a moment. But that change depends on you. So now we are not going to be complaining about the recession. That is not our prerogative. It's not our concern. If the recession is here, there's still money to be made in a recession. There's still people to help in a recession. There are people who need guidance in a recession. And when we look at the grand scheme of things, let us not focus on things which we cannot change, but more so focus on things which we have the capability to change. And if you look deeper and closer in your trajectory on your path of life, you will realize that the constant variable has always been you. So now it is up to you to decide if you will be the constant that changes to embrace the life that you were designed. Thank you for stopping by. And as we expedite matters, it is the hope that you will come prepared to take notes as we move forward in using sense to make dollars. Signing out is Dr. A. Do have yourself a wonderful, money-filled day.